What's up, guys? This is the Osmo.com Night Shift Podcast. We're talking MLB for Thursday, August 16th, 8-game slate to talk about really weird set of games. Pricing is not going to be a huge issue, I don't think. So there's some weird pricing, but especially at pitching, there's just Flaherty at $11K, and then everyone else is 9,100 or below. So I'm sorry, we've got Clay Buchholz for 9,500, and then Gray 8,700, Roark 9,100. But anyways, we'll talk about all these guys as we go through this kind of awkward slate. So get to Osmo.com, check out everything we have to offer. We've got season-long NFL subscriptions that are available. You can go on the premium tab at Osmo.com for MLB. We still have the spotlight hitters, pitchers, and stacks that are free. We have the ownership projections and rankings that are free if you buy a subscription. So those are premium tools. And then Osmo will be doing his perfect pitcher article for the Thursday slate. And it's going to be one that I'm going to need to read because, as I've said a couple of times already, it is just a really, really weird slate. So going to take some getting used to, going to take some conversations with Josh and Chris, and some help from Osmo. So looking forward to everything we have for this slate. Let's start with the Cubs and Pirates. We've got John Lester going up against Ivan Nova. Lester is 7,300. I've kind of been on the fade Lester train pretty much all year, and I don't think it's going to be any different here. I think he's going to see some sort of ownership, probably over double digits, I would think. He's just a league average pitcher at best against righties. He's really, really good against lefties, so I don't really want like Polanco, Dickerson, and any other lefties that are in the lineup for the Pirates. But David Freese, Francisco Cervelli, Josh Bell, Josh Harrison, these guys are all on my list, and I'll even consider a full Pittsburgh stack because I just don't have an issue ever taking righties against Lester. And I think people see the big name, and the stack against him is usually lower owned than it should be. It happened with the Nationals on a day slate. I think it was last Saturday, and I was all over the Nationals. And they went off. I don't know if the Pirates are going to go off here, but I think they're going to be under-owned. So I'm in on the Pirates. Ivan Nova is 6,500. I mean, he's cheap. There's a lot of guys that are cheap tonight, I guess for Thursday. But I don't know if I'm going to be going to Nova. He really has a tough time with lefties. He's going to see probably 6 lefties here. And I love Rizzo, Zobrist, Kyle Schwarber, and the righties, Bodie, Contreras. I don't mind any of those guys. So both sides I like for hitting. Not really on either of the pitchers here. Let's go to the next game, Nationals and Cardinals. Tanner Roark going up against Jack Flaherty. Roark is 9,100. Flaherty is 11K. So this is where we get some of our quote-unquote expensive pitchers. Starting with Roark, he's looked really good over his last 4 starts, gone at least 7 innings in each of them, getting a lot of strikeouts. Not a ton of swinging strikes or anything crazy, but look at this Cardinals lineup, and you've got Yadi, Jose Martinez, Marcelo Ozuna, Paul DeJong, Jed Jerko. Bader's probably going to be in there as well. Pitcher spot. So a lot of righties for Roark, and that's appealing for me. So I guess I'm going to have to consider Roark for 9,100. Just trying to get over some of these prices mentally. Like I don't like the idea of paying 9,100 for Roark, but I think he is one of the better plays on the slate. So I guess I'm going to have to do it. And I don't really like Cardinals bats against him besides Matt Carpenter, who I think a lot of people will be on, but for good reason. Roark does have trouble with some lefty power. Flaherty for 11K on the other side, going up against one of my favorite teams, at least one of my favorite teams to play in DFS. They've let me down lately, but the Nationals just loaded with power, especially from the left side. Flaherty does have pretty big strikeout splits. He's striking out 34% of righties, and then you go to lefties, it is down to 26%, so he's good against both hands. It's not like these are splits. It's not Ivan Nova splits where it's like 24 and 13 or something. You can deal with 26 and 34 or whatever I just said there. But Flaherty looks good to me. For 11K, though, against the Nationals, it's just really, really tough for me to pay that price when I can just go to some other guys like Roark on the other side who I think is pretty much the same play. Like I have them projected for right next to each other in points. So I don't really want to pay 11K for a pitcher I don't think is in that good of a spot. That being said, I'm not going to be wild about the Nationals bats. I mean, I'll have Harper and Soto, but probably not very many full stacks. And I haven't said that about the Nationals as of late. It feels like I've been stacking them up every single day. So hope this is not the day they go nuts. Mets and Phillies. We have Corey Oswalt going up against Zach Eflin. There is some confusion about who's going for this game because it is a doubleheader. They're playing the first game at 3:05 Central, and then this one they'll play back to back. I'm thinking that's what the plan is. So this one starts at 7:35 Eastern. The other one starts at 4:05 Eastern. So yeah, back to back. Nola and Mats are going in the early game is what I'm seeing so far. If that changes, the whole nature of the slate would change if Nola is on it against the Mets. But I guess we'll cross that bridge if we come to it. So right now, Eflin, 8,200, like him a lot. Kind of the same thing with whoever went up against the Mets yesterday. Was Bundy. So Eflin. He definitely can get some strikeouts here, and he's going to get a bunch of righties. I think he makes for one of the safer options on the slate. He is, the Vegas line is all messed up right now, and there's weather for this game. This game could be a disaster now that I'm looking at it. Who knows if this is even going to get in. I'm seeing like 80% chance of rain, 86%, 84% by the hour when this game is supposed to start. So not even sure if this one's going to go, but I do like Eflin if the weather clears up. And then I'm not on Oswalt on the other side. I actually like Santana, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Rhys Hoskins a ton. So I'll have Philly stacks if they're going up against Oswalt. So let's get out of that one. That's a pretty ugly game. Weather, uncertainty at starting pitcher. We don't really know this far out. All right, Angels. We got to go to Rockies and Braves. We got John Gray going up against Julio Teheran. Gray's 8,700 here. Tough spot for him on the road, obviously outside of Coors, but in Atlanta against all these lefties, guys that don't strike out. I think it could be tough sledding for Gray. Interested to see his ownership. He certainly got the stuff to mow this lineup down if he's on his A game, but I don't think I'll have much Gray, if any at all. I actually like Teheran on the other side for 8,200. Anytime you get the Rockies outside of Coors, you've got a bunch of righties in there: LeMahieu, Arenado, Story, Desmond, and then who knows if Iannetta is going to be in there too. Pitcher spot. This is definitely a lineup Gray could have his way. Teheran could have his way with. And for 8,200, like I said, pricing isn't really that big of an issue for pitching today, unless you're playing Flaherty. But I will be playing a bunch of Julio Teheran. I expect him to be pretty popular. And I do like some Braves bats if you're not playing Gray. Freeman, Albies, Markakis, even $4,800 Nick Markakis. I'm still interested in. Next game. Let's do Angels and Rangers. I'm seeing Deck McGuire going up against Ariel Jurado. McGuire is 4,400, but this is a guy that I don't like playing at all, even at 4,400. Same thing with Jurado. Two guys that have trouble missing bats, and in Texas, even worse. This was supposed to be Tyler Skaggs for the Angels. Obviously, it's not going to be. He was placed on the DL. And I'm stacking up both sides here for bats. Too bad Trout's not playing, but Ohtani looks like one of the best plays of the day at 5,200. if he's in the lineup. Justin Upton is showing some signs of life. I even like Francisco Arcia at catcher for 3,600. He grades out pretty well for me. So bunch of Angels bats. I'm pretty comfortable playing anyone on that side against Jurado and that Rangers bullpen. Same thing on the other side. I'm expecting a huge total in this game. And Chu, Odor, Gallo, like Guzman, all these guys, the Rangers have been raking as of late. So I have no problem firing them up here. I would expect this game to be the most heavily owned for bats, and for good reason. Tigers and Twins, we got Francisco Liriano going up against, I believe it is Irvin Santana. Liriano is 5,800 on DraftKings. Some mild interest in him just because I think there's going to be some lefties in this lineup. He's much, much better against lefties this season, which is normal for a lefty pitcher, of course. But the Twins just don't look like they have the same sort of lineup that we saw earlier in the season. You got Sano in there. You've got Johnny Field, Adrianza, Tyler Austin. There are certainly some strikeouts to be had for Liriano. So actually don't mind playing him here in Minnesota despite the 5.1 total for the Twins. And then Santana on the other side, another reason why I like Liriano a little bit is because I think he's going to have run support. Santana, velocity dropped again in his last start. Nothing crazy, like around a mile an hour on most of his pitches. But he just went up against the Tigers last week in his last start. And he had a 3.2% swinging strike rate. Chase rate was the lowest of any of his 4 starts, just 22%. Wasn't getting ahead of guys. I don't know if he's healthy. So Santana, I mean, I would have to assume he's going to have ownership here for $7K against the Tigers. People love targeting against the Tigers, myself included. But if I don't think Santana's right, then I guess I got to be on the other side, and I'll go with Castellanos and Goodrum. There's just not a ton of power on the Tiger side. Candelario is also in play for me. So there are a few bats I like, but I wish there was like 1 or 2 more good bats on the Tigers, and I'd feel really good about stacking them up and getting leverage off the probably chalky Irvin Santana. Toronto and Kansas City, another weather game. Sam Gaviglio going up against Glenn Sparkman. Gaviglio is 6,800 on DraftKings. I wanted to play him. Or I guess I wanted to be excited about playing him. I may have some Gaviglio, but I love when he's against righty-heavy lineups, and he's only going to see 3 here. Alcides Escobar, Salvador Perez, and Whit Merrifield are in the projected lineup, and Merrifield and Perez are 2 of the Royals' best bats. That's not saying much, but anytime you get Gaviglio against a bunch of lefties, he really, really makes me nervous. Big splits, strikeout splits, quality of contact splits, and I'm interested to see his ownership, because if he starts to be one of the guys that is the chalk, then I don't really want him because he's got a lot of trouble on the base paths. So if Merrifield gets on base, look for him to take off and try to steal. I don't know if there's anyone else on this Royals team that can steal much. Just like scrolling through some of these guys to see how many bases they've stolen this year. And I may be missing someone. I'm not sure if Mondesi can steal or is attempting to steal. Oh, yeah, Mondesi is. All right. 3 stolen bases in his last game? Man. All right, then. So, I mean, I would hope they put Mondesi up there, but right now I'm seeing him in the 8 spot. He's 4,300. That's probably why he's 4,300. So even if he's batting like near the bottom of the order, I still think that's a really fun GPP play. Stolen bases are pretty underrated in DFS, in my opinion. So I actually don't mind some of these Royals bats against Gaviglio, and hoping he's going to be chalky along with my boy Irvin Santana. Glenn Sparkman for 4,500. To be honest, I didn't know this guy's name until about an hour ago. I just have never heard of him. 5-run total against him. He doesn't look very impressive to me. Threw 68 pitches in his last outing. and that was in relief against the Cardinals. Swinging strikes are fine for him. I mean, I don't think he's going to light the world on fire, but he looks somewhat stretched out, and he's 4,500. You may not even be able to play him because of this weather, but he's going to be someone that's in play for me because I'm expecting pretty low ownership, and you can literally put in him and whoever and get whichever bats you like. So, again, pricing's not going to be a big issue on this slate on DraftKings, it doesn't look like. All right. Toronto bats. I mean, they're probably going to be popular against an unknown Royals player and that bullpen. I really like Grichuk against righties, and then Curtis Granderson leading off, but really no issue targeting against this entire bullpen for Kansas City. Like, for the rest of the season, teams against Kansas City are going to be in play just because they don't have any arms that worry you, their starters included. All right, last game of the night, Arizona and San Diego. We've got Clay Buchholz going up against Jacob Nix. This one is in Petco. Buchholz is 9,500. What year is this? But he looks good. Like, I can't argue with the numbers. He's got a 10% swinging strike rate, above average chase rate. He's done a decent job at limiting hard contact to lefties, especially, which is weird. But anyways, I'm interested in Buchholz. I hate the price. I absolutely hate the price, but I'm hoping that price will get people off of him. I don't think he's got big upside, even against the Padres. Like, you're looking at like a 6-inning, 5-strikeout performance, and that may do the trick on this slate. So, for like the 20th time, pricing is not going to be a big issue. You should be able to fit in what you want for the most part, and 9,500 for Buchholz will probably scare some people off, but I'm going to be right there playing him. If that makes me a fish, then whatever, but I'm just looking to play the best plays, and going up against the Padres as a righty in Petco, you have to at least be considered, and Buchholz has been solid. Nix on the other side, 7,800. He's coming off a pretty nice start. That was at home. This is obviously at home. Going to get pretty balanced Diamondbacks lineup, 4.3 run total for Arizona here. I didn't see anything that like jumped off the page for me on Nix in his first start against the Phillies, but 7,800. Again, I'm gonna have to see ownership on this to see where I'm at on him, because I really don't know if it's gonna be Santana, if it's gonna be Gaviglio, if it's gonna be this guy Nix that's gonna be the chalk in this range, and I don't feel great about any of them, Nix included. So I'll be looking at Pollock and Goldschmidt and Peralta. These guys all have the power to get the ball out at Petco and hit balls in the gaps and such. So Diamondbacks, somewhat of a sneaky stack in the late night hammer. All right, that's going to do it for the night shift. Pretty disgusting slate, but we're going to be playing it, right? So join us for the MLB strategy video tomorrow morning, 9 Eastern. Josh and myself, we will go through this, hopefully give you some more clarity on our approach, and check out the Spotlight pitcher article, Spotlight hitters stacks that Josh does, the perfect pitcher article that Osimo will do. That will be out around 4 Eastern. Good luck on this slate. We will see you guys in the morning.